There's a specific type of loneliness that nobody talks about. Not the loneliness of being alone in a room, the loneliness of being in a room full of people who love you, laughing at the right moments, saying the right things, and feeling completely, utterly invisible inside it. If you have felt this and never had the words for it, stay here. Because today, I want to show you two people living inside that exact same feeling, and why one of them will carry it forever, and one of them finally won't. Same situation, same room, same people around them, same noise, same laughter. Two completely different people living inside it. Person A has been in this room their whole life. Not this specific room, but this feeling. This exact feeling of being present and absent at the same time, of watching everyone around them connect, naturally, easily, without effort, and feeling like they're watching it through glass. They smile, they laugh at the right moments, they ask questions. They are, by every external measure, completely there. But inside, there's a running commentary that never stops. Do they actually want me here? Would they notice if I left? Am I talking too much? Am I talking too little? That thing I said 3 minutes ago, did it land wrong? Person A has never told anyone this, not once, not fully. Because here's the thing about this specific loneliness. It is almost impossible to explain without sounding ungrateful. How do you tell someone who loves you, I know you're here, I know you care, and I still feel completely alone? So person A smiles and laughs and goes home and sits in the silence and feels somehow more lonely than they did in the room full of people. This is called chronic relational loneliness, and it has almost nothing to do with how many people are around you. It's a disconnection that lives inside the person, not in the room. It forms when, somewhere early in life, genuine emotional connection felt unsafe or unavailable. Maybe the people around them were physically present, but emotionally absent. Maybe every time person A showed their real self, the unfiltered, uncertain, messy real self, the response was discomfort, dismissal, or simply silence. So the brain made a decision. A very reasonable, very protective decision. Keep the real self back. Present only what is safe, what is acceptable, what gets a warm response. And person A became very good at being in rooms, and very alone in all of them. And person B also feels it, that slight gap, that sense of watching rather than fully being inside the moment. The difference is not that person B feels less. The difference is what person B does with the feeling when they notice it. Person B has learned, not easily, not quickly, to do one thing that person A has never been able to do. They say it. Not dramatically, not as a confession that empties the room, just when someone close asks, "How are you?" person B occasionally answers the actual question. Honestly, I've been feeling a bit disconnected lately, like I'm around people but not quite with them. I don't know, it's strange. And something happens when they say it. The other person almost always says, "I know exactly what you mean." Because this feeling is not rare, it is not a sign of damage. It is one of the most common human experiences that almost no one names out loud. Person B is not less lonely because their life is different. They are less lonely because they stopped protecting themselves from the one thing that actually dissolves loneliness, being genuinely known by even one person. Here is what is actually happening between these two people on a neurological level. Human beings have what researchers call a sociometer, a continuous internal measurement of how included and valued we are in our social environment. This is not vanity. This is survival biology. For most of human history, being excluded from the group meant death. Person A's sociometer is running in permanent threat mode. It is always measuring, always assessing, always finding evidence of potential exclusion. And a sociometer in threat mode does something devastating. It makes genuine connection feel dangerous rather than safe, so the brain avoids the exact thing it needs most. Person B's sociometer learned, through small, repeated experiences of being honest and surviving it, that connection is more often safe than not. Their brain stopped treating vulnerability as a threat and started treating it as a door. Same loneliness, completely different nervous system response to it. Here is my honest opinion about this. We talk about loneliness like it is a circumstance, like it is about being physically alone or not having enough people in your life. And so the solutions we offer are circumstantial. Go out more, join a club, put your phone down, be more social. But chronic relational loneliness, the kind Person A lives with, is not a circumstance. It is a learned protection that outlived its purpose. It was built at a time when hiding the real self was genuinely the safest option, and it worked. It protected Person A from whatever the original threat was, but that threat is usually long gone, and the protection remains, running automatically, keeping everyone at exactly the distance that feels safe, which is also exactly the distance that feels lonely. The loneliness is not the problem. The loneliness is the alarm telling you the wall you built to survive is now the thing keeping you from living. I am not going to tell Person A to simply open up. That instruction, without understanding what the wall was built for, is just another way of saying the wall was wrong. It was not wrong. It was intelligent. It was necessary. It got you here. But here is one question worth sitting with tonight. Is there one person, just one, in your life right now who has earned the right to see a slightly more real version of you than everyone else gets? Not the full story, not the confession, just slightly more real, 1 degree more honest than your default. Because genuine connection does not require being fully known by many people. It only requires being genuinely known by one. And that one person, the one who responds to your real self with, "I know exactly what you mean," they change the entire internal experience of every other room you walk into. Person A or Person B, which one lives in your chest? You don't have to say which one out loud, but if Person A felt uncomfortably familiar, I want you to know something. The fact that you recognized them means the real you is still in there, still watching, still waiting. And that is not nothing. That is actually everything. Person A or Person B, which one lives in your chest? You don't have to say which one out loud. But if Person A felt uncomfortably familiar, I want you to know something. The fact that you recognized them means the real you is still in there, still watching, still waiting. And that is not nothing. That is actually everything.